Hi, I'm CA Vijay Kedia. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why financial planning is must for everyone in today's economic and social scenario. Because financial planning is still a fancy word for most of the people. You often hear that even our parents didn't do much of a financial planning, and still we ended up fine. The thing is, we are living in a totally different world right now compared to our previous generation, and so, whatever our parents did in their time, most of that will not work in today's scenario when it comes to the financial decisions. So, I'm going to explain today that how this change in the economic and the social scenario has impacted your financial planning and why you should give it more importance compared to our previous generation. So stay till the end of this video and I'm sure you'll find some important takeaway from this video. So first of all, let's talk about the economic environment, right? So we know that currently India is a high growth and high inflation country, right? So you see the growth rate is increasing and at the same time inflation is also increasing. So one good thing about growth is that it creates more opportunity, your income levels will increase, but it also has a flip side that your expenses are also increasing at a higher rate. And expenses are not just that normal inflation, right, the food and all, but it's also the lifestyle inflation. Because when your income increases, apart from your basic necessities, you also aspire for some more lifestyle related things, like you might aspire for a bigger car, nice house, and then maybe some foreign vacations and things like that. So that also increases when your income increases. And there are two areas where I see that inflation is not just this 6-7% which is reported by the government, it's much higher than that. And these two areas are education and healthcare. I'll give you an example. So when I used to study, until 10th grade, I still remember I used to pay 200 rupees per month as school fee, right? Currently, for the same level, I'm paying 20,000 per month for my daughter. So the thing is, it has become almost 100 times. Maybe in my case, it's an extreme scenario, but most of the people who are staying in big cities, they'll be able to relate to that. That education expenses is something where your inflation is not just 6-7%, it's in double digits. So maybe every year school fees is increasing by 10, 12, 15%, right? And then if you talk about higher education, that's even more expensive, right? Second thing is healthcare. Healthcare has become advanced, so you have the treatment for the diseases which were not available earlier. So it's a good thing. But at the same time, cost of that healthcare has increased. And now, because of our sedentary lifestyles, we need more access to the healthcare. So we might need to visit hospitals frequently. In our old age, we might need more expenses towards our healthcare, right? And that was not there in the previous generation, because most of the work required physical activity, whether working in fields or doing a small business. Everything requires some physical movement, and now that's kind of restricted when people are sitting in front of computers and they're working whole day. And so the thing is, that's a shift which is happening from previous generation to current generation. So your normal inflation is there, your lifestyle inflation is there, your education expenses are increasing exponentially, your healthcare expenses are going to increase. So you need to have a plan in place to handle this kind of expenditures, right? And that's why you need financial goals. Now let's talk about the change in the social environment. So our generation is currently a transitioning generation, and we are transitioning from a traditional to a modern society. So what is a traditional society? Where people stay in joint family, people know each other, so there is a kind of support system. But in a modern society, mostly families are nuclear, and then you hardly get time to connect with each other. So you lose that support system, right? And that changes a few things which you need to understand. So, for example, our parents' generation, they could depend on their relatives and friends in case of any financial emergency. And if you try that in today's time, probably you lose that relationship or friendship. For retirement, also they assume that their kids will take care of them financially in old age. Can you think of same for the next generation? I don't think so, because we live in a very competitive and complex world today. So if our next generation is able to take care of themselves and their family, I think you should be more than happy. So those expectations have changed, right? And even when we talk about retirement, earlier people used to work till 60 or even beyond that, because mostly people worked in their own small businesses, or jobs were mostly government jobs, which is very low stress compared to your private jobs, which we are doing currently. So there you could think of continuing till 60 and beyond 60, but the kind of work we are doing and the stress level which is there right now, do you think we'll be able to continue till 60? And that's why in today's world that financial planning has become even more important. So because you need to plan for your emergencies, you need to plan for your future expenses, you need to plan for your kids education, you need to plan for your retirement or even early retirement. Now, the next point is why you should change your investment strategy as well, considering the current economic and social scenario. So, now when it comes to investment, our parents used to rely on safe instruments like fixed deposits, and that time the fixed deposit interest rates were also higher. At some point, they were in double digits, and which was actually beating the inflation, and which is not true now. Right now, if you take the FD interest rate, they are like 6-7%, and if you take that post-tax return, it will be like below 5%. That will hardly beat that 6-7% inflation. So, but I'm not saying that we should not use FD at all. They are good tool to park your emergency funds, but they are not an investment tool the way our parents used to invest in that, right? And that time we also saw that our previous generation used to buy LIC policies as an investment, or any money back plan, endowment policies, and because that time there was no financial education, right? And if you calculate the CAGR of those so-called investment in LIC policies, that will be around 3-4%, and it's very bad, right? But the thing is, that time that they were not aware that this is not a good investment. But with current generation who has access to knowledge, they can calculate how much returns I'm getting. So we cannot afford to do the same mistakes, right? Because the thing is, we have access to the knowledge, and at the same time our corpus requirement is also very high. And next is, like, they used to invest in real estate because they could easily invest using cash, and so investment was easy, and there was hardly any better alternatives that time, right? Because the stock markets were not very well regulated, they were not transparent, they were run by a bunch of brokers, and there was like price manipulations and things like that. But the thing is, a lot has changed in these 2 decades, right? So I would say market is now at least 10 times more regulated than it was there 20 years back. It has become more transparent with technology. Everybody has access to market. So we need to make that shift, and we know that over the long term you get better returns from equity. So when you have the better options available, right, why stick to the same traditional investments? Right? Because that time there was no alternative. Right now you have alternative, you can analyze and you can see what works best for you. Like, I am very much bullish on India's growth story, that this decade is India's decade, right? But how to participate in India's growth story? If you invest in these traditional instruments like FDs, real estate, or even this LIC policies, I don't think you'll be able to participate in India's growth story, because the return which equity provides, theoretically, it's a combination of your growth rate plus inflation. So if your economic's growth rate is 7%, inflation is 6%, the minimum return which you can expect from equity in the long term should be at least 13%, right? So what is happening is, you are protecting your capital from inflation, and at the same time you are participating in India's growth story, and you are getting that return, that economic growth rate in your portfolio as well. So my point here is that even after these many options, if you still continue to follow traditional investment approach, then you may fall behind in your financial goal. So this is something I wanted to share with you. So hope you like this video. If yes, please hit the like button, subscribe if you have not done already, and do share with your friends and families who might find it useful. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.